Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hello, everyone. Good morning, Vietnam. Good morning, Vietnam. It's all that he's home, bro. Summable. We live. We are live, baby. About to do a very fire group call with the team. Justin, Creative Soul. We got Zay here. Bunch of the clients are joining. We got Van in. Van,
Yeah,
my boy. I miss you already, bro. When am I
I
gonna see
miss
you?
you
Oh
too.
shit. Come on,
I
get
miss
out of
everyone.
there.
What's up, Zay?
Yo, my bad. My computer's tripping out. What's up, buddy?
No, you're good.
You hear
Hi,
me?
how are you? What's up, Zay? How are you?
What's up, my brother? How
Yeah,
are
yeah,
you?
yeah. Good, good, good. Miss you guys, man. Can't wait to go back.
Yes, you too, bro. How's the weather? It's been cold over there?
What's up?
Been cold over there?
Cold? I mean, yeah, 30s, 40s.
Ugh, yikes.
I know. It's not too bad. I'm from Minnesota. This ain't shit.
You get cold like Minnesota, huh?
Yeah, I can't do Minnesota no more.
That sounds brutal, bro. Damn, Yachty's a genius. I didn't know that was a thing. Like that song came out with Lil Yachty. Like they cold like Minnesota.
Yeah. I'm excited for today, man.
Me too, bro. How's business been? You been grinding away?
You already know, bro. I'm so glad my client rescheduled today because I'm tattooing 7 days a week for the next 2 months.
Damn. Hell yeah, bro. You need to give yourself a little time to breathe, brother.
I
Grinding.
know I really need time to do those YouTube stuff. I just don't have the time, between all the like back to back having to prep for back piece and sleeves and all that. It's just been really hard.
Yeah, it's a lot to deal with, bro. I mean, that's what I'm saying. The only way you really be able to do is stick out these next couple months and then work on it after, or
hmm
fucking reschedule two people a week or some shit, which would be a pain.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna be booked out till like August, so I
The
mean
thing
it's
with
gonna
me
be
is I
very
was
hard.
having such a hard time doing that. I just had to look my assistant and be like, bro, we just have to move some people. Like I
hmm
forced myself to do it because I kept filling up my schedule and I was like, bro, we just have to.
Right. No, I feel like in a couple months everything will be a lot better. So I
Mhm.
think I'll have more time to really sit down either with you or just by myself and figure out the long form and all the behind the scene editing too, because that's a part that's like super time consuming.
Yeah, yeah. We can come up with a plan for that. Sure.
Yes, sir.
Des?
Hey, I'm
Destiny,
here.
Destiny, ma'am, I know that you're famous now. Can you I'm glad you graced us with your presence today.
You're funny.
Bro, you've been snapping, dog.
Um,
Bro,
I don't know.
Destiny,
I'm telling
you're
you, something in
going
the air
fucking
2026.
insane, dog. What is going on?
Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know. It's the Wrath
Bro,
effect.
Destiny, literally taking over right now. What is going on? How do you feel right now?
Honestly, in disbelief. Like, I don't know if you saw the little video I did, the 50 to 60K video yesterday. I
No.
was like, how the fuck? Like, I don't know. Every time I reach a new milestone, I'm like, okay, well, there's another milestone to hit. So it's like
Since
never satisfied, but always grateful, you
I didn't
know?
see that. I didn't see that video.
100K
Shit's
by crazy.
60K is crazy. That video was fire. Oh shit! Oh, it's fire. I'm gonna tear up.
Isn't it cute?
That's dope.
Thank you, thank you.
It's amazing. I'm reposting it. So fire.
Yeah, man. It's been growing consistent, steadily. I had like for like the last week or two, I was catching up on inquiries because I had like 30K followers within like 3 days. So the influx of inquiries was crazy. Implementing like the new prices and stuff. Obviously it's weeding out a lot of people. Like I'm not booking everybody who, asks about a booking, but it's
Yeah.
fine because I am getting like, I am getting quality people who are like willing to pay whatever tag. So it's going good. Right now I'm booking end of March and into April. I only have like 2 days left in March.
Damn, you filled up your books quick.
Yeah. I mean, well, okay. Also consider I'm gonna be gone for like 10 days,
Mm.
going on my birthday trip. But besides
That's
that,
good though. That's fire.
yeah. Yeah, man. It's
And
going good.
these people, it's just a start because you're just, where your content's going crazy. It's just gonna keep going crazy, but also at the same time, all these people that are fucking with you now are gonna get tatted by you, and then like be your client forever because you're just great to work with. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
What
right.
is up, everybody? Jericho, Lucio, Maya, Danilo, team. What's up, guys?
What's up, bro?
What's up, bro?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Let me text Justin, make sure he's in here. So we have a good one today, guys. Storm, what's up, dog? What's good with you? What you been up to?
Shit, 1 second.
The lady's asking if he can join. I said, of course, bro. Join up, dog. Sorry, guys. I'm just giving everyone a couple minutes to just everyone keep joining up. Still got a couple people coming. Justin, join back up. Let it pull up in here. Zach, what are you guys gonna do on your leg, Zach?
Fucking Ninja Turtle.
Ronnie,
He's not here right now. I
where
leave
is
him
he?
here. He's just fucking he was doing that Tupac painting
Ah,
when I called him.
you're getting it ready for him?
No, not getting shit ready. No.
What are you doing? You're like shaving
I'm
your
just
leg.
waiting for him. I'm just waiting for him. I'm on the phone.
Yeah, I should be doing that, so it's interesting.
Yo, guys, I'm in a good mood, y'all. 2026 is looking bright. Everybody in the program's been hitting numbers. I don't know if you guys have seen Destiny. Everyone give Destiny a little round of applause. She's been fucking going insane. Back to back banger
He has.
videos, millions of views. She probably gained what? The 40, 30, 40,000 30,000 followers in just like a couple
Insane.
weeks.
Before 2026, I was at 23K and I just hit 60K.
What the fuck? In 20 days,
Damn.
40,000 followers. Insane. Insane.
Thank you, thank you.
That's crazy. Destiny, congratulations.
Appreciate you.
I also think it's one of those things too where this year, even guys like bro, Storm just started in the program like a month ago. Storm's been doing numbers too. Like everybody's doing numbers. This is gonna be the year where the people who put in effort are actually separated from the people who are just whatever about what they do. Because every single one of us is putting in effort, major effort into investing in ourselves, investing in our business, investing in our content creation, putting out the actual work. That's what's going to pay off. The people that just show up to show up and get the money and leave, they're never going to be able to succeed like we are, you know? So this is the year, bro. This is the year we weed out all the people from the service-based business and the service-based industries that we're in that don't really want to be there, that are just there to collect a check, you know? That's what separates us from them. So, guys, I have a really cool presentation put together. I'm going to present for the first like our Kenzie's in here. Let's go. Xavier's in here. We got Josh. What's up, guys? What's up, everyone? What's up? Anyways, I got Justin, Creative Soul. He's gonna be getting in here and talking a little bit. Zach's in here. Faletti,
What up? What up?
Ari.
Yo, it was good. It was good.
Come on, guys. What's good with y'all? Good to see you guys. Good to see all of you. So we got Justin gonna do a little bit of presentation later on. He was grabbing some food while I did my part. And we were talking a little bit earlier about what he was gonna talk about. So basically, y'all, as I was saying, this is the year. This is the year. I'm sharing my screen. I got some really dope stuff to talk about today. I was really planning on talking about, for the most part, the most important part of this was going to be brand building in depth and brand identity, right? I think that this is one of the most common misconceptions right now. I think a lot of us are killing it and a lot of us are posting to grow our businesses and doing the right things, but a lot of us fall off over time. Maybe you're in the program for a few months. There's a couple months where you miss stuff. Very few people are super consistent for a long, long period of time. Hold on, guys. I got an elite client who's showing up to my house. I gotta answer this. Let him in the gate. Hello? Yes, please. Thank you. Sorry, guys. I got another client who's in the elite program showing up to my house. He's gonna sit in for this call. He's a little late, but so brand building, brand identity. What I'm seeing is one of the most common misconceptions is people are falling off over time. But if you really understood the depth of the brand identity, you'd see why the most important part is staying consistent over time, right? For me, I watched this one movie. It's one of my favorite movies, and one thing that always stuck out to me is the character saying, he said, if I lose my money, I lose nothing. He said, if I lose my health, I lose something. He said, but if I lose my character, I lose everything. And that's what was tattooed on the shops on my wall. You know, like I'm such a big fan of that quote and it stuck with me
You're not making 12 points.
very intensely over time. So my goal with this really is just defining our character, defining who we are, why we continue to show up every day, why we would do that for our clients, and really just understand how all of this ties into business. Because a lot of us are on one end searching in our personal lives for whatever answers we're looking for. You know what I mean? We all have different things that make us tick. We all have different things that motivate us. We all have different purposes in life. But at the same time, we all want to grow our business. And
Yeah.
our personal life definitely ties in to all of this. So we want to make sure that we are constantly having this in the back of our minds when we're going into our content, when we're building our brand identity, because we want to attract the right people. We want to work with the right people. So this is also going to lead into, like I said, the presentation with Justin, leading into discovering style with Creative Soul. So who are you? How do people experience you and your brand? This is one of the main questions we're going to be asking ourselves today. And I did put together good amount of notes on this, so we're about to get cooking. Let me make sure. Let me make sure everyone's got the link. Okay, Justin's in here. Let's go, baby. The whole squad's in here. All right, I'm hyped, guys. I'm hyped. It's gonna be a good one today. So, your brand is how someone feels when they see or hear about you, right? Sometimes you're unknown, and I need us to really like humble ourselves for a minute, because even someone like me, I'm not famous. I'm not super widely known. A lot of people might look at someone with followers already and say, oh, well, they already have followers, so it's easy for them to kind of be known. But at the same time, it's very easy to be forgotten as well, right? And that's the day and age we live in. Everything is short, quick bursts of dopamine, and things come and go very quickly, right? So for us moving forward, what we need to realize is we're small in the perspective of the greater perspective of life, right? We are a small thing. You know, a lot of people walk around with tattoos. A lot of people are on social media. But at the end of the day, our brand is going to be mainly based off of, and this is something I truly believe in. I think you can create a great life, a great business off of having 1,000 people who truly fuck with you and trust you. You know what I mean? I think it only takes 1,000 people to be behind you for you to get rich, for you to build a business, for you to help people. I think it only takes 1,000 people. So your brand doesn't necessarily need to be huge and widely known. And even if you are unknown right now, there's nothing wrong with that. Even then, it's an advantage because you have a clean slate going into making content, building your brand, and building your identity, right? Just because you've been active online, just because you've been posting, doesn't mean your brand identity is established. Doesn't mean when you're not in a room, your name doesn't hold a certain weight. You know what I mean? So, what we want to focus on here is why do the people in your personal life who are around you every day are the first people to support you in your business? Right? What a lot of people fail to understand is they might have really good turnover rates with clients and really good success in the first year of their business because it's all their friends and family supporting them. But when they stop marketing and advertising throughout that time, that's all they rely on, that well dries up, right? You can't just focus on what you got in the harvest and just because it's a lot, eat off that, right? You need to continuously be planting and getting ready for the next harvest, or you'll run out of food, right? So, what we want to realize here is the reason so many people are buying from you when they know you personally is going to be the exact same foundation we want to build our brand off of when people know us online, right? Why do people fall in love with somebody? Why do people fall in love with a person? And how to make sure they never see you as replaceable is one of the most important parts of this, right? Because a lot of people's work can be replaced. When you just judge someone based off of work, you can be replaced because there's a lot of talented artists out there. But why do some people get chosen and other people get compared? Right? That's one of the most important aspects of this, right? I think that all of the stuff that we look at as like whatever surface level things in our business are not whatever surface level things in our business. Those standards that we hold ourselves in our business to is what's going to define our brand behind closed doors, right? So when we're thinking about this, and like I said, if you have a clean slate, this could be an advantage. This is the reason new people blow up every year and they become like the shiny new object everyone loves, and then they're forgotten about sooner than later, right? The focus needs to be on building a strong brand over time, not overnight. So that's my main goal with this, guys. I want you guys to see why so many people fall off with posting and why for us, the main aspect of this is going to be making sure we stay consistent. One thing I've fostered in my business, and guys, I'm not afraid to be open about everything I've accomplished or everything I've done in the past year or couple years. You know what I mean? Like I'm very open about everything I've done to make money and how I built my business, how I built my business coaching, how I built my tattoo business. So one of the main things behind that, being so open and so honest about that, is just to build that brand over time, just to build that trust. Right? I'm not doing it to brag, I'm doing it for any of that, anything other than just build trust. Oh my guys, my client just got here. Let me let him in real quick. Let's see.
Right here, yeah, we're gonna be. Well,
What's good, bro?
What's next?
Dave,
Nick, Marco.
nice to meet you, brother.
No, we're back in that.
Yeah, right
here.
You welcome. All right, guys, I had my boy Marcos pull up. He was in the program this year and he was coming down to Miami for the weekend. So I told him if you want to sit on this call, it'd be great. So, what is your brand, guys? What do people say about you when you're not? What do people think about you when you're not around? Come out. I want you guys, and the main focus of this too is to move towards feedback when you're trying to see what your brand identity is from a client's perspective, right? I always try to get a client's perspective. I'm always asking clients, where did you find me? Right? Who recommended you? What social media app did you find? What video did you follow me from? What video did you see? I go that in depth, right? I'm asking clients what really made them make that decision. And what I've noticed over time is it's not the way my setter sets appointments. It's not the way my content was seen by them every day. That's never the reason they give me for why they booked. The reason they tell me is because I've seen you now for 2 or 3 years. It's always the answer I get, right? On average, it's taking my clients 2 or 3 years of consuming my content, building a relationship with me through social media for them to truly understand my brand identity and be able to put themselves in there if they feel like they align. Because that's what it is at the end of the day, too. You are not trying to market to a lot of people. You're trying to market to a small group of people. But you want to call that small group of people out of the large lump sum of people you are advertising to and marketing to. So one of the main things you can do here when it comes to understanding your brand identity at the moment, so you can start making chart changes moving forward, is to always ask clients where they found you. Ask them how long they've been following you before they decided to work with you. Ask them what made them book with you over someone more local, right? Why would they book with you over somebody else? For example, so for example, my client yesterday, she came from Kansas City and she booked with me for a $2,000 mini portrait session, right? And it ended up turning into like a half-day session, but I was fine with that because she wanted to get her whole hand tattooed, and I knew that. So what she told me was after asking her artist to do her portrait, like to her baby's portrait, her artist said he didn't specialize in that. And 2 days later, she saw my reel about the mini portraits I do frequently, and she hit me up. It was an inbound lead. We booked her. She booked the flight. She was very happy with it, and she's going home super pleased. So that is the most important part. It really is about lining up the dots with some clients, but at the same time, they have to see value in what they're doing. So she booked a flight. She paid $2,000 for a half-day session, not a full-day session, right? I still tattooed another client after. And also at the same time, she tipped me $500, right? It was amazing, but at the same time, to her, based off of my brand identity, based off everything she told me she's seen, she said that she had been following me. She just didn't know I specialize in doing those smaller portraits until she's seen that video. So the market is going to perception, like have a perception of you and see you a certain way, regardless, but the content is going to help guide them to making the right decision. And that's what I talk about so much with you guys in content. The content is way less than just being seen. It's way more about being known. So that's one example of feedback. And these are questions I definitely want you guys to be asking your clients, but I want you guys mainly to be asking yourself this. A lot of people don't understand that talent is not a brand. Right? It's sad to say, but talent is not a brand. Plenty of talented people are not making money right now. I know personally talented people who are not making money. And it wasn't because of a lack of opportunities. They've actually had every opportunity they needed to succeed, right? There's plenty of average people who are doing really well, who are really rich. The only difference is it's not about skill. It's about the presence, the consistency, and the perception, right? When someone hears your name, what do they actually picture? Do they picture a person or just an artist? If people only see your work, you're replaceable. If they see you, you're not. That's why the personal brand has turned into something that so many artists hate. This is the exact reason why so many people in different service-based businesses are upset, right? It's not just the tattoo industry, it's many different industries, right? When they see someone who is more charismatic, advertising more than them, when you hear their name, it rings bells, people know them. They don't have that same effect on people. It breeds a lot of jealousy in that situation. And that's why there's a lot of feedback from other people in our industries that maybe sometimes try to move us away from being authentic and making that content, but it's the best thing that we can do. There's been, and I know a lot of us have dealt with that because I've heard it from many of you guys, how people around us, and I was talking to Justin about this earlier, but the environment that you're in. What were you saying earlier about the environment, Justin? About being like that, being your perception of that time. So the perception of that is what like all you see, or what you think is possible.
Yeah, your environment all right. So who's leading you is very important because if someone is saying that, booked out artists aren't really booked out and they're making whole social media posts about it, saying that these successful people are lying, is because that's the perception that they have within their environment. So everybody that's following them and looking up to them, they're going to take on that energy. But if you have somebody that doesn't have to explain how they're booked out, they're just booked out because they're doing everything they're supposed to do. They can look at that content and laugh at it, and the people that's under them, not even under them, because they work with people more beside them, then they can show them like, look, this is possible, and you don't have to prove it to everybody else. So these people come up knowing that no, that is possible to be booked out, well paid, and happy, successful doing it. So it's all about your environment.
100%. 100%. I remember like it was yesterday. I made my first $1,000 day, and my boss was like, "Yeah, next is 2,000." And I was like, "Well," I was like, "Yeah, whatever, maybe." I was like, "I don't even think that's possible off tattoos."
Right.
So there's a lot of self-doubt that goes into that also. So, guys, from this subject, now we understand talent is not a brand. We understand the whole focus behind the brand building. But how do you become the one? How do you become the person that gets chosen every time? Right? So people don't pick the best artist like we've talked about. They pick the artist that feels right for them, or they pick the business owner that they feel like understands them. So one thing I heard from somebody that I like who is a consultant, he's an older gentleman, and he does a totally different type of business than most of us do. He has always been a consultant. He hasn't been in the service-based business, nothing like that. But what he says about affluent clients is very true because affluent clients are very similar across all different industries when they're buying. So what he was saying with affluent clients is they want to see you as one of them, right? No affluent client or no affluent person is going to be going on their story or posting a reel complaining about how people don't want to pay their prices or don't see the value in tattoos or don't see the value in their work, right? Like these types of things are things that affluent clients don't do. They don't see that side of it. And I've honestly, over time, tried to turn my brain off to the negative things that people say, especially business owners. I don't see slow season. I see people buying watches. I see people buying cars. I see people doing crazy things. I see people spending money and making money. So, like Justin was saying, the perception is everything here, but also at the same time for the client, they want to pick someone who resembles them and they want to pick someone that feels right for them. So, after I watched this reel of that client saying that, I literally had a client that day come get tattooed by me. He spends $4,000 on a session, right? Very high day rate. He doesn't even finish the entire tattoo we planned on because he's in pain. He tells me, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'll just pay you the full session. I'll just book another one with you." He has no problem paying. And also, he has a friend who's a rapper who's Lil Pump. He's a very popular rapper. He's like a younger guy from Miami. He FaceTimes him and he talks to him. He goes, "Oh, this is Raph. He's a tattoo artist. He's tatting me up." Oh, and Pump's like, "Oh, that shit's sick." And he's like, "Yeah, well, he's one of us, bro. You should get tatted by him. He's cool." That's all he said. But to me, after watching that video of that client saying that affluent people work with affluent people, it was interesting how he said he's one of us. You know, it was almost like in that moment, like I felt like, oh, okay, like these people see themselves in me. Like we're both hustlers. We're both getting money. We're working really hard out here. Right. But that matters a lot. Those little micro differences in the things that your clients say are the things that I try to pick up on and really emphasize when I'm making content, when I'm trying to be my authentic self. A lot of you guys don't not know how to be your authentic self. You're just scared of what it's going to attract. Is it going to attract negative feedback? Maybe. But is it going to attract the right people to you to work with you so you have the best business, the best vibe, the most growth? Yes. You know, so there's a certain amount of uncomfortable position that you need to be in for you to really get the value out of being authentic on social media. Right. And I think that authenticity is really like here, like the baseline of where all of us need to be, you know, regardless of what you do. There's people that post content that is not edited, that is not planned out, but it's just so real and authentic. It always performs well. Right. So maybe sometimes you don't need to ask yourself, yo, is my hook good enough? Am I editing these videos fast enough to change? But think about like, am I really being authentic and am I really having a conversation with the client before they bought from me? You get what I'm saying? Like we want to think about the mindset our client is in before they bought with me. What were they concerned about? What questions did they have? What were they looking for? You know? And that's where we want to make sure we're speaking to that person. But also at the end of the day, people just crave authenticity. So I think the reason my videos went viral of me smoking a freaking joint or rolling a joint before I went and tattooed a client a couple years ago was because of just the authenticity behind it. You know how many people are rolling up? Every tattoo shop I've ever worked at, people were rolling up smoking weed before they tattooed their clients. But just because I posted it, it was all of a sudden something that stood out, you know. But it was just being authentic. It was just being authentic. It was just, I'm not gonna hide what's going on. I told my camera guy, I said, record my process, and that was part of my process. So people choose you because of your vibe, because of your reputation, because of your consistency, because of your boundaries, and because of your demand, not because you're better, right? I've seen this time and time again from my perspective, I think a lot specifically because of how many clients and people see me on social media and how many artists out there feel as though they're better than me, but they know that my business is probably growing more than theirs, right? It makes them upset, and I understand that. But there's one common denominator that could put all of us on the same level, and that's just promoting ourselves on social media, right? I don't compare my art to theirs. They compare their art to mine, but I don't compare it to theirs ever, right? I just focus on my lane and what I do, right? So let me put some examples here about why people get chosen over compared to, right? Because what I always tell my clients when I hop on a call with them, especially my first, and a lot of you guys have been on one-on-one call. I mean, all of you guys have been on one-on-one calls. I mean, I actually had a client who signed up this week who asked about the group call, and I told him, don't jump on a group call till we do our one-on-one. Because I want you guys to be, you know what I'm saying, doing certain things at a certain level and in a certain mindset before you hop into all this just information in a group call. But one thing I explain to my clients and the perspective I want them to take is if you just were a client and you looked at your page with really good work and a guy who worked across the town that also had really good work, but that guy just had a portfolio and pictures and videos of final products or services or their tattoos or their hairstyle or their nails or whatever. And then on your page, you have final product pictures, testimonials from clients firsthand on video, explaining deep down your process every single day. New
Hola, ¿cómo
content.
estás? ¿Puedes mover el carro para sacar la camioneta rápido, por favor? Gracias.
Hold on, guys. New content coming out daily and consistently feeding people the type of information that would separate you from that other business owner. That's what I want you to think about. Of course, I always ask them that question and they say, yeah, I'm always going to go with the guy who has the testimonials, has all the content up, etc. So what you need to realize too is how deep are you going into this process of building your identity? But then on top of that, acting out the process of continuing that over time. That's where your character starts to show, right? When you fall off, like I think Justin said this really well. He said something about momentum dies quickly, but a brand lasts forever. So when you post for a couple months, that's momentum building. It dies so quickly. When you post for a few years, me and Justin could not post for a whole 2 months and still be booked out 8 months. It wouldn't even hit. You know, we'd still be booked out. There'd still be referrals coming through the door. There's thousands of people walking around with artwork advertising for us, right? I have clients on national television telling millions of people that I did their artwork, right? So brand building goes beyond a few months of hustle and grind. This is a lifestyle, you know? It's something that comes in way stronger over time. And even Zay, he's been working with me for the last year and he's been killing it. And he's reached a whole new crazy level in his business. But at the same time, I told him, I said, just don't forget about sticking to the basics. Like you don't need to overcomplicate any part of this system. You just need to solidify what you're doing already and increase your output, right? So whatever you need to do to increase your output, that's what you need to focus on. So let's talk about some stories here that I want you guys to see. And I got this from Justin's page, but this was him talking about his story. So this is where brand identity and your story all become intertwined, right? Like I said, the credibility doesn't happen. I told one of my coworkers this the other day, someone who works with me, I said, the growth in my business last year didn't even start last year. It started 5 years ago. It started 5 years ago when I decided I was going to document this whole process and build this business online. Like that's when I built the credibility for the money I made in the last year, right? So I don't look at it as 1 year's worth of work to make that money. I look at it as 5 years worth of work to make that money. And this is something that clients see also. This is something that clients respect. And this is something that clients look forward to seeing so that they can separate you and turn you from just another artist in town into an actual person. So Justin's page is crazy. I was even sitting here with Zay and I pulled this up because I knew Justin had some highlights of his journey with being an artist. And it's inspiring as hell. And I was showing Zay, and even Zay was like, damn, that's crazy. So here's a post from Justin that's on his highlights. And every client I've worked with, especially clients who are already into making content, they've gotten followers, but they necessarily still aren't making a ton of money off their following and they haven't solidified that brand. I always encourage them to share their story more. So one thing I've seen here, and I'd seen Justin's story a couple of times, but I didn't think he shared it enough. So I told him to double down on that, and something that it's super powerful. It's just super moving. So in 2012, Justin posted on his Facebook, and he posted this in a story. He said, I was really out here making it work by any means necessary. 2012, I had no solid clientele, 2 years into tattooing. I would go to art markets to set up when I had no one to tattoo. I refused to get a job after I committed to this lifestyle 2010. Lucky if I had 1K in my bank account. So this here is powerful, super powerful. And it's just a couple sentences. And this for somebody who is buying from you, creating a brand identity behind you, even look at someone like Kai Cenat right now. He's a streamer. He's in front of hundreds of millions of people every month, people viewing his stuff, right? He now is starting a clothing brand, but before he even started the clothing brand, he made a whole new page talking about mental health, and there's a reason behind the clothing brand. And now he's bringing that into effect before he builds the brand, before he launches it, right? So this is something that's very important. The emotional connection and the reasoning behind your brand is important, right? And opening up and being that authentic is also very important. So you feel this, you know what I'm saying? Like you feel this. You see Justin now killing it. And on the surface level, you might just see someone who's already affluent, already has high ticket clients, has been killing it. But when you really start to break down and you see the story behind it, it becomes even more inspiring. He becomes way more than just an artist, you know? He becomes someone who is like me. Like I said, this is what clients are looking like. To me, this is someone who's like me. I was even telling Justin earlier, I got kicked out of school in 9th grade. He said, me too. I got kicked out of school in 9th grade. You know, like you know what I'm saying? Like you really want to start attracting the right people. I'm posting in front of millions of views every month, but I'm only tattooing 30 people every 60 days or 70 people every 60 days. Maybe not even, because I'm doing back-to-backs with most of my clients. So I'm maybe tattooing 25, 20 clients every 2 months. I'm probably tattooing 100, 200 people a year max, because most of my clients are getting multiple sessions. So I don't need millions of people to keep me busy. I need 100, 200 people who believe in me, trust me, want to work with me, etc. It's not because I'm better, and it's not because Justin's better than any of you guys. It's a mixture of the brand identity, the story, the momentum, not defeating momentum and becoming something over long periods of time, right? It takes time. There's something you guys just can't skip. Now, maybe what I accomplished in 5 years, Zay and you guys could do in 2, but maybe what Justin accomplished in fucking 10 years, we could do quicker with the tools we have now and the insight that he could give us. You know what I'm saying? So that's where we are super fortunate. 2016, years of consistency. Like, look at that. 4 years later, and his style is developing. I mean, if you guys know anything about Justin's style, but I'm sure it was developing long before this too, and that's what he's really going to be mainly focusing on today. 2016, years of consistency. It's dope. Started to develop my style in 2016, drawing commissions. 6 years into tattooing. So it took 6 years of his journey of tattooing to start to find his style. It's incredible. So this is amazing, guys. And this is where really we start to see how even now off this one call, you might have seen Justin's work before. You might have thought it was cool, but now even more like you know who he is. You're starting to see who he is. You're starting to see the journey he went through, and it very quickly starts to build more of a relationship with people. So this is beautiful. 2018, giving back. I started focusing on my brand. 2020, 2021, continued selling paintings. Second shop. I mean, this journey is incredible. This journey is incredible. So that was amazing. Oh my God, I want to pull this back up. So that was one example of sharing your story and building that brand identity. And that was just a few slides. Obviously, this happens over time. You can post carousels. You can post continuously on your story. You can post on Reels. I've posted Reels of me talking about my struggles with tattooing, my struggles with building my business. I've posted carousels with old pictures of me where you can even just see in the pictures I was having a hard time. You know, like things like this is what I do. But also at the same time, when you share your story like this, you don't want to force it. You want to make sure you're just documenting what you're going through at that time, right? So we want to start talking about the three things that actually create identity. All right, let's talk about the three things that create identity. Now that we've had some good examples of what that is, let's talk about the three things that create it. Also, this is another thing that creates identity. Long form content. Long form content. This is an example of video I posted. This not only builds credibility for business owners, but for anybody who's watching, a client, etc. And this is just from 0 to 100K, my journey in building a personal brand through social media. It was a simple video. It probably took me an hour to put together. And it's screenshots of my first posts on TikTok, my first ever posts, 9/8/20 dates, what I first made money on online, selling shoes. Honestly, bro, I have everything in here. From when I first bought my McLaren, consistency compounds after 2 to 3 years, how long it took me of posting. When I first bought my car, when I first started making big money, when I first started having videos blow up. And I started to understand the process of making content. And then this is when I started perfecting it, why people trust and buy, right? Like all of this is free information. And even this is 2023. This is 3 years ago when my business really started to take off. I hired a full-time camera guy. I really started going full in. I stopped doubting myself. I started making big money around this time, right? So this is what I'm talking about. This documenting this process is going to be everything for you guys and a big part of creating your identity. So the three things that actually create identity, also here's your standards like we talked about. Do you rush? I used to rush my tattoos. I'll admit it. I did. I rushed for a long period of time. And I still find myself some days late at night when I want to go home, rushing through a piece. So ask yourself these questions and be honest with yourself. And I'm being honest with myself. Do you discount? Sometimes I feel bad telling friends my price. I discount sometimes. I do that. I really do. I really feel bad. I'm really like, dude, I charge 4 bands a day and I'm booked out for 8 months. And they're like, bro, but you can't tap me. And I'm like, of course I can, bro. Just throw me 2 bands. And they're like, 2 bands. And I'm like, dog, I feel bad, bro. I'm booked up. I literally can't tattoo you. And everyone else is paying double what you want to pay. You know what I'm saying? I feel bad, but it's just the truth, bro. And I discount to my friends. I'm like soft like that. I have to have a middleman manager booking in the middle. I have to, or I'll give too many discounts. I'm soft.
Oh man, that was funny.
I know you felt that, Justin. It's hard, bro, when you're charging that much, you know?
Especially with family, man.
Yeah. Do you chase clients? Realistically, do you chase clients? Do you try to justify your price and yourself to a client? If a client leaves you on red, this is something a mentor told me. He goes, if you're still thinking about a client that left you on red yesterday, you don't have enough clients. That was the first thing he told me. Because I was like, yo, this guy on Friday, I had him in the DMs and he was going to buy and he ghosted me and he like seemed like a great prospect and I could help him. And my mentor goes, so what about the next few leads? And I'm like, I don't have any more. And he's like, I'm like, that's what I was talking about. He's like, you can't be thinking about that guy. He's like, you got to just keep moving in your business. So you need more leads if you're still chasing clients or worrying about clients that didn't buy, right? Do you let people disrespect your time? Do you let people disrespect your time? I think that this can go a couple ways. I think that people can be too stern with this. I heard an artist the other day say that if you're 15 minutes late to his appointment, you're done. I said, that's a little extra. I don't know about 15 minutes. That's like about the amount of time it takes me to like fucking make a burrito or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what if I was hungry? I don't know. That's too much. That's too fast. But in my opinion, I won't let a client show up more than 45 an hour late unless they texted me. I don't mind that. So I'm pretty chill on that end. But do you let people disrespect your time? One thing I've noticed with this is, especially with employees, this is where this has come most in play for me. I'll have to just be like, yo, after this time, don't call me. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't call me too many times a day when I'm dealing with real problems about like dumb shit. You know, if you call me about something important, that's fine. But some people abuse the access to you, and that's what you want to worry about. Do you post desperate content? Guys, let's be real. Half the people we follow only get online to post their availability. Tell me you only care about the money more than the only times you get online is to post your availability or post your open dates. right? If you're posting more on your story about your open dates and your availability than you are posting about yourself, your brand, your business, something is completely wrong. And I see this happening more than you guys would think. I don't want to call anyone out, but maybe a couple people in here aren't posting enough about their personal brand, their business, and their identity and their art, and they're posting more about their availability.
I need your help.
So another thing that actually creates identity is your point of view. This is where your personality comes in. And guys, the reason I'm talking about this, because to you guys, this might seem so base level and simple and stupid and obvious, but the amount of people who are sheerly not being themselves on social media is insane. You know, like there's still a mask. A lot of you guys still have a mask up, right? And that's why it's hard to create content past the 2-3 month mark, right? Because you're still fearing what people say. You're still not sure about what to talk about. What you should talk about is what you think about daily. What's going to separate you from all the competition is the individual experiences you have with your clients, the way you treat people, your thoughts and actions. That's what separates you. So if you don't document that, there's no proof in the middle. So what do you believe about work? What do you believe about clients? What do you believe about success? And what do you think most people are doing wrong? Your takes equal your identity. This is why people follow you, not just your tattoos, right? And I think that this can also be a very thin line, and it depends on the individual. Some people incorporate so much of their personal beliefs into attracting people on their social media. I think it works to their advantage. Some people maybe overshare and say too much, and it affects their business too much, right? So just always keep that in the back of your head. There's people I know who are some of the best business people. They don't talk about politics. They don't talk about all those things on their pages. But I also know phenomenal artists who talk about politics, talk about all that stuff on their pages because they don't even want to work with you if you're not someone who would align with their views. So this is very much up to the individual. But just remember, guys, this is all going to play into our brand identity. And next is your story, like I was talking about, but not in a cheesy way. Not like telling your story in terms of trying to get people to feel bad, but just get people to understand what you've been through and the problems and the hardships you've accomplished. So what have you lived that other people haven't? That's what makes you interesting. But also coming up the way you did, building demand, learning premium pricing, and realizing content equals leverage. People don't buy your work, they buy your journey first. So what I'm saying here is it's all intertwined, right? Your personal journey, and every single person in this call right now has had a personal journey that has led them to become the business owner that they've become. So that's where the real value comes in, when you tie it back to those aha moments and those real life situations and those real life feelings that you were feeling throughout that time that forced you to take action and build your business, do what you said you were going to do. So these are the 3 things that are going to create your identity. And what I want all of you guys to do throughout this week is just sit down and reflect on your story, on your point of view, and on your standards, right? Reflect on how you let clients treat you, how you book people, how relaxed are you about this? How relaxed are you with your time? Focus on your point of view. What do you believe about things? What do you believe about clients? What do you believe about success? And also think about your story and how it ties into everything you've accomplished, and create a couple pieces of content that help clients realize that too, to help clients see that, right? Because this is going to go a long way. And when you have a client sitting in the chair in front of you, 99.9%, they're not going to look at you and say, oh, well, well, I really loved the way you took that stencil off that client. It was just beautiful. It just actually made me actually book with you and spend thousands of dollars. No, they're never gonna say that. They're never gonna say that. They're gonna talk about, I love your story, I love your work. I've been watching you for years. I've been following the journey, right? I've never got something on the surface level about even more so, even if they layer it with quality of the work, they always follow up with something about your personal or something about the way you've been posting and consistently, etc. Right? It's never just the work, right? So clients notice this a lot too. Now let's go into brand building 101. The real game here is being irreplaceable. If you are yourself online, you become an individual, you become yourself, you become irreplaceable. For me, when I walk down the street, people don't say, yo, you're Raph, whatever. They just say, yo, you're the tattoo guy. I'm the tattoo guy. You know what I'm saying? In Miami. That's what dudes say to me, or people every time they see me, yo, you're the tattoo guy, right? So at that point, I'm completely associated with anybody getting tattoos down here, right? I become irreplaceable, but they're not just saying I'm just the guy, I'm just the tattoo guy. A lot of people also call us out by yo Vivo, yo Raphael Tats, yo, everybody knows the brands, right? So if someone can replace you with a cheaper option, your brand is weak. The only argument I have for the people that criticize high prices, posting online, etc., the only argument I have for them is just look at what the clients are doing and where they're spending their money. You know, you can call all of this stuff fake, but it's documented for a reason. Clients are still spending their money, they're filling up the books, and they are consuming the content, building trust, and making an educated decision. And no one in the industry can say anything about how clients make an educated decision. What matters is where clients are going with their business, right? They'd rather pay more for you than go cheaper with somebody else. I've never hidden on my page that there's cheaper artists out there. I've made multiple videos over the past few years talking about how there are cheaper artists, but how I value my work at a certain rate because that's just how I value my work, and that's just what it is. And I stand on that, right? And I back that up with the quality of the work and the marketing and the advertising, etc. So ask yourself these questions. Would your clients wait for you? Would they defend your price? Would they say no one else can do it like them? If not, that's what you need to be building actively. So that's the number one thing my clients are saying. I literally had a video client testimonial last week that I posted with my client, and he said on the video, he said, fuck your hometown tattoo artist, no one can do it like Raph. Right? Does he mean that? No. But at the end of the day, I mean, does that mean there's not talented individuals in his city? Definitely there's talented individuals in his city, right? 100%. There's talented individuals all over the country. But the real game here is becoming irreplaceable in the client's eyes, right? Now, how do you actually build a strong brand?
Nothing wrong.
Be visible every fucking day, bro. Not for the algorithm, but for the perception. If people see you working constantly, they assume you're in demand. And also, visibility is free marketing and social proof. Social proof is the reason people do things. People don't buy $1,000 Van Cleef bracelet or a $20,000 Rolex because it's stainless steel or because they like the material. They buy it because of what it says about them to other people when it's on their wrist. They buy it because other people see that as a sign of wealth. And if they really didn't care about that, everyone would go buy fake ones, but a lot of people still buy the real, right? So be visible every day for the perception. And then also ask yourself these questions. What behavior are you doing right now that makes you look less premium? And what's one thing you need to stop doing to protect your brand? Ask yourself these questions. I want someone to answer this. If one of y'all don't want to answer this, I'll answer it because I know ways I can do better. So does anyone want to answer these questions? What behavior are you doing right now that you feel like makes you look less premium to your clients? All right, I'll go ahead. So one thing I feel like I do that makes me look less premium is I argue with people online. Just being real. I'll be real. I let my emotions get the best of me, guys. I get hot as fuck and I want to say everything. I want to just rip people apart. I want to fucking just talk all the shit in the world. I love talking shit. So that's something that makes me look less premium. You know what I mean? It really does. Let's be real here, guys. But I'm willing to sacrifice that for some level of authenticity. You know what I mean? To a certain extent, something I'm working on. Also, what's one thing you need to stop doing to protect your brand? I think one thing I need to stop doing to protect my brand is going to be definitely going into agreements in business with people without having contracts and clear guidelines set up prior. That's one thing I've learned that I need to start doing. I need to start doing to protect my brand, or stop doing is working with people without having like pre-agreements in place, right? Because a lot of people say, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. And then when it comes time to actually do it, they don't execute. And then at that point, if you're in business with them, you kind of just have to let your part of the business go and leave. You know what I mean? If they own part of it. So one thing moving forward, definitely, that's something I have to do. Anyone else in here want to share what they think is making them look less premium to clients, or they need to start doing to protect their brand?
Something you mentioned earlier. I don't know if y'all can hear me. Am I muted?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Something you mentioned earlier for sure. Is offering discounts. For me in my head, like a $200 to $300 difference, you know, in retrospect, it does make the difference because it's not about the money. But like when you're in a moment, you're talking to a client, and that's what's like missing to make the deal. It's really easy to give in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It is. But it's also one of those things too where it's like, for example, I had a client message me a couple days ago. He plays video games with my brother, like online or some shit. And he's like, "Yo, I want to get my chest tatted." He sent me a full chest piece. I quoted him 3,000 per day as a deal. I said, "Yo, I'm gonna give you a deal. You played video games with my brother for years. Here's 3,000 per day." He said, "But only if you book both days." He comes back, he goes, "Nah, bro, I got a guy who quoted me like 2,000 for a whole chest." I was like, "All right, cool." Hits me up 6 months later. He goes, "Yo, I went to my session. I didn't like anything the guy drew up. I didn't like how this guy was unprepared. He wasn't confident. I left." He's like, "I'd rather spend the money with you. I'd rather spend 3,000 on just one chest, one pec, than the 2,000 with that guy." And he learned his lesson. He came back. You know what I'm saying? But I gave a discount there too. But I stood on it. But I think that also that can be done strategically, Ari. Like for you, bro, like you gotta have a set number though. For example, like me and Justin, we're always gonna say 4K per day, but downsell to the 3,500 back to backs. Like I'm always going to push clients for back-to-back sessions. So that's strategic downsell. You know what I mean? Like there's a strategic downsell, but then I'm never caving. It's never like, "Oh, I gave him the price," and he's like, "Oh, come on," and I'm like, "Oh, fine."
I
Like
feel you.
no, once I give the price, bro, I gotta stand on that. That's gotta be the last line. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Ooh.
So one thing
I
I think
think
you here,
I,
guys. No, go
I
ahead,
think
Justin.
I think for me, one of the biggest things that I used to do a lot that was hurting my brand was, like you were saying before, was sharing too much information when it's not linked to my brand. Because you can share some personal information if it's linked to your brand, but if it's not, that can actually hurt your brand. You know what I mean? So if I built the brand that's based off of being a warrior, being disciplined, being having containment over your emotion and having mastery, I shouldn't be posting anything that's emotional, right? Or someone crashing out or getting mad over some personal issues that's going on in personal life. Those are very impulsive moods, and that doesn't represent the brand or that practice. It shows that I'm human, but I could still deal. I don't have to post that. What I can post though is what I'm learning and the wisdom from that. Whatever trials and tribulations that's going on in life, I can post the lessons from that, but not while I'm figuring it out. You know what I mean? You stay away from it during that process.
Mm-hmm. Give yourself time to reflect.
Exactly.
It's crazy to say. That's honestly why I've always been a fan of like smoking weed too. Because I get super fucking wound up and I'm like, damn, sometimes I need to come to this decision from a different perspective real quick.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, you know what? I'll just play like "Don't Worry, Be Happy" or something like that. So one thing I wrote here, guys, be consistent in how you move. I think that underlying all of these things we just talked about, adding consistency in a simple program to your business is going to be the best thing you've ever done. Right? Like you don't need to overcomplicate this system. I was telling Zay, I said, "Zay, I've been posting the same booking number since 5, 6 years ago. And I had no clients back then.
Yeah,
But
bro.
the system hasn't really changed, right? I'm still on the same system. I'm still posting the same booking number. I'm still driving leads to the same place. I'm still collecting leads and dialing them in the same way I booked them 3, 4 years ago. I'm still doing all of this stuff the same way because consistency and posting and all that stuff is just my baseline. That's my standard for myself. Act like you're already elite. This is a big group for you. This is big for your elite group. This is the group. And the reason I wrote this, guys, here is like, all of you guys in this call have proven yourselves. Like I said, this is the year that we're going to stand out. All of you have the success and the way, the opportunity and the knowledge and the work ethic, everything, and the talent to do what Destiny did in the past month, right? To gain 30, 40,000 followers, right? And like we've always talked about, the followers is never the goal in mind, but that's just a byproduct of doing everything right, right? So even before Destiny had those videos go crazy, I was using her videos as example for new signing up clients because she was doing so well at documenting the process, the authentic interactions. And even though she knew, okay, Raph, I want to go down to Miami, I want to get better at, I want my quality of my work to get better, I want all this stuff to get better, and that's been our focus as well. She was already acting as if she was elite. She was already putting herself out there, capturing the moments, pricing like a pro, speaking to people, carrying herself well. She already knew what price she deserved, and her content reflected that. And now it brought in the people who are not price shoppers. Now it brought in the people who are filling her books who know what she's worth, right? So she was carrying herself as that elite price business owner before the videos even blew up, right? Before it happened, before she was as booked up as she is now, charging what she is now, she already knew she had capability to do that. So when you finally, and before she even had those videos do really well, we had a conversation where I said to her, I was like, look, your work and everything right now is at a point where you are very close to the next level. But you have to already work as if you've already been there before, if you've already been doing it. So she came down to Miami, she honed in on things she needed to hone in on, she worked on her craft, and at the same time, she acted premium, she posted the content in a premium way, she recorded it the right way, she carried herself well, and now her books are getting filled. So act as if you're already elite. Your brand isn't built in captions, it's built in how you move. Every decision you make is either making you more desirable or more replaceable, right? When I see people just posting, like I said, their availability, the simple videos that just call out clients because they're hungry for bookings, it just simply makes them look more replaceable than anything, right? What we need to be doing is strategically building a relationship and then putting CTAs in the right part of the content, the right part of the video that's going to authentically bring them to us without it seeming salesy, right? If you look at Destiny's page, also, her last video that got 2 million views is about her numbing cream. She sold how many orders? How many orders, Destiny, did you sell?
I don't know the number of orders, but in a day I made almost 1,400. It was like 13 and change.
That's fire. See, offer fucking numbing cream. It's fire. So that clearly shows, guys, that this doesn't only work for just the service-based business, but you can also sell products like this as well. And honestly, this video is self-done. She recorded herself with a tripod. She tattooed herself. She literally had no one but herself, and it was never an excuse. You know how many people come to me and say, I don't have clients, I don't have content? I feel like Destiny just like put all of those excuses to shame right here with this video. So, how long have I been going now? How long have we been on this call? An hour?
Hey, Raph.
Yo!
What's up, dude? My voice is gone, so I sound all raspy.
No, you're good. Talk to me, bro.
I just wanted to jump on and say thank you to this. It's been this badass call, dude, and I just want to say good luck to everybody. I'm here at a convention, so I gotta bounce. But yeah, man, I just want to say thank you. I'm gonna hop off this right now. But it's been a badass call, dude.
Oh, I got you, dog. I'm recording it all too, bro. So don't worry. The whole rest of it with Justin is all gonna be recorded. I've got you. I'm gonna send it to you.
Hell yeah, man. I appreciate you.
I got you, fam. Killed at that convention, dog. Happy tattoo.
I got 4 words so far, so today's the last day. We'll see what's up.
Let's get it, bro. Let's get it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Congrats, dog.
Thank you, man. I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one.
All right, bro. Take it easy, dog. 4 awards is fire. That's fire. All right, guys. So I kind of went into my spiel on brand identity. I guess one of my main goals with this topic, guys, is really to get you guys to start thinking really, really deep down on the long-term reason why you're going to stick to this process, right? And realistically, where you really start to profit off of this is long-term, is after a year or two of incorporating this over long periods of time. So one thing I do want to say also before we get into Justin going into talking about discovering your style, because this is something I've, just like many of you guys, I've been seeking answers, you know, for many different things in my personal life and my business. And I want to develop my style. And something I've always looked up to Justin for since we worked together was the confidence and the style he's put together over the years, and how clients literally only come to him for one specific thing, right? And that right there is something I see so many people striving for in not only the tattoo industry, but many different industries that I've worked with. And it's something that I really admire Justin for. So I'm learning with you guys. we're gonna sit in for the next little bit and listen to Justin and a little bit of a presentation he put together for us. And I want you guys to just soak up as much game as you can. I'll be recording this as well, so you'll be able to watch over if you want to take notes again or take notes now or whatever. But I'll be listening with you guys. So, Justin, introduce yourself, brother. I'm sure everybody here knows you.
What's going on, everybody, man? This is Justin, Creative Soul. That's what everybody mainly knows me as. I've worked with Raph a couple times, and we've been in contact ever since. You know what I mean? What I got inspired by was I was already posting, if you go down my history of like 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, that's when I really started to blow up on social media because I started posting more. Blew up on TikTok with just a simple video, but then that brought so many followers from TikTok over to Instagram. So I was just vibing off of that. I looked at what blew up, and it was my style, the things that I love to do. So that's what went viral. So it made it a little bit easier because I'm like, okay, I'm already tattooing all of the people that I want to tattoo and how I want to tattoo it. Now this thing just blew up because of it, and my style blew up from there. So now I'm getting people that are reaching out to me from all over the country, even as far as London, flying in just to get tattooed. So after that happened, I recognized what they were reaching out for, and they was reaching out for me, for my Warrior Tattoos, the brand, how often I'm posting, how often I'm showing up on social media. Now, I wasn't as dialed in. I was just doing what was working for that time and keeping it simple. Post, have my videographer at the time, have him document like everything and just put the content up, put the content up. Eventually, I realized I didn't have an actual structure. Like I had the brand, I had the talent, but I needed a structure to put everything together, right? So the few things that I learned from this was overall, real success doesn't come fast. And despite what social media may say, it's not always loud. You know, that's that overnight fantasy that everybody always have. It's like this viral moment, something goes viral, you gain a bunch of followers, and you feel like you're going to get that instant respect because of those quick wins. But that's not how real things are truly built to last, right? That's how pretty much spectators think. You know, they see where you are at the current moment, but they don't see the story behind how you got there, right? So you as an individual, you can't think like that, right? Because the thing that I always had in my life was I never chased the crowd. I was always a quiet person, but I always performed and I always prepared in silence, right? And I realized that even on the warrior journey is they all train in silence before the battle, and they all build something powerful before the praise, but so much work goes into building that nobody sees, right? So their structure is sound because they're able to level up without the applause or like the recognition, without the likes, without the shares, without the recognition from the industry, because that's not where who they are, that's not where it lands. You know what I mean? That is really not that much important to them. When it does come, that's just a cherry on top. So what I can see right now, just from a perspective of coming from a time where there wasn't any social media, and artists were just being artists, right now, the hustler's dream look like you have a great social media presence, you have a clean style, you're booked out, your money is coming in, you got the nice car, you got the lifestyle. That's fast and that's visible and it's flashy. That's what all that comes down to. And I get that dream because I used to be inspired by that too. But after getting a lot of those things, there was still something that was missing, as I was saying, right? That's what I'm talking about with the structure. So the speed looks good. You have a video that blows up, brings a lot of people towards you. You get booked out, you sell things, right? But that's momentum. The structure is something that lasts. Anybody can accelerate in this game. Even people without talent, they can accelerate very fast, right? But how stable are they at that high speed after it's built? After they've got there, how stable can that vehicle run? And that's the difference between looking successful and actually being unshakable. So think about it like construction. When something is being built, everybody that's walking around, civilians and everything, all they see is dirt. They see some holes. They see some pipes. They might see some concrete being laid and trucks coming in and out. And they don't see anything that happens for a little while. It's very slow. It's unimpressive. That's how building a career looks. Like, it looks like nothing is fucking happening at that moment, right? But what they don't know is that they have infrastructure there and they have a blueprint, right? And that's what Ralph is always talking about. Even after 2 years of staying on this consistently, never forget what got you there. You want to stick to the basics, stick to the blueprint. So before they put up the walls and everything, there's a whole plan, right? And the blueprint always has the answers, right? It has what is meant to be, what does it need to hold, to contain itself, and how much pressure it may face. And that's the blueprint, and that's the identity. If you don't know what you're building, then you'll keep tearing shit down, stopping and starting, going on another project. You'll just be running around in this loop because there's no structure at all to what you're doing, and you're just building based off of the applause that you're getting from the crowd. Luckily, I got applauded for the style of work that I love to do. So I didn't really have to change up much. I'm like, all right, cool. Let me just continuously be me. And before I added meditation, if you're following, I added meditation once I got into meditation personally. That helped me so much that I was like, let me introduce this to my clients. And just how destiny has it, I was right next door, right across the street from a metaphysical place for where they do meditations. So I was like, oh, I'm in a perfect spot. So let me introduce my clients to this guy. Let me do the meditations. Let me add this vibe into what I'm doing, because this is what I do on a daily basis. So let me share this with people that's paying these premium prices and add to the experience. The thing about it, they was already paying $4,000 and $3,500 before I added the meditation. And when I added the meditation, I didn't increase my prices. I just kept it the same because I'm like, yo, this is just my vibe. This is what I'm on. And this is what separates me from everyone else, right? Because the authenticity behind it was, this is me learning how to sit still and be in the moment. And these are the type of people that I want to attract, because I know that I can learn from them too if they're also on this journey, right? So that's where the identity of my brand is. And then my style, that's where the warriors, the gods, the goddesses, and all that other stuff comes from, is mastering your own self. And then with the experience that I bring to it, right? That's the clients, they're coming in, their experience. Most of them never meditated before. So some of them had out of body experiences and things like that, because they never sat still in 30 to 40 years. They never sat still. They was always on go mode. So that's the experience behind it. And with all of that, from the style, the identity, the execution of the style and the identity matching, the high level work, and then the experience that I'm giving to clients, that's going to build the reputation, right? So people don't find me because I'm the cheapest artist. They don't find me because I chase attention or I'm always posting all the time. Like, the people that actually come and work with me, they find me because the work and the type of content that I'm posting keeps finding them at a certain particular time in their life when they need it. And I might get their attention at that time, but they might not pull the trigger. Just like Rock, a lot of my clients come to me after 2 years of following me, 3 years of following me, 5 years of following me. But at that time, it wasn't the right time. They was out of the country. They was in the military. And that's another common thing. A lot of people come to me that's within the military and the services because they live that warrior lifestyle. right? So that's another, besides just strictly spiritual people, it's people that's actually on the field. And I'm looking at them as, okay, they're clients where they're away a lot and they're working a lot and they have guaranteed money coming in. And a lot of times they're not spending all that money. So when they come back to the States, they want to spend that money to relate and to create something of a warrior to recognize what they've conquered during their life, right? So that's my clientele, getting down to the psychology of it. So in this, being that I built the style and everything of that nature and why it's so important, I become the choice when they finally reach out, right? When my clients finally reach out, they're not shopping. They already decided, like, this is the guy that I want to tattoo me. It's been like 2 or 3 years I've been watching him, right? I started following him years ago, but he stayed consistent, right? I don't have clients that ask me for sketches. I don't have clients that even ask me for discounts. And they never try to short it. So I'm always like, okay, I'm 3,500. They're like, yo, I don't have that right now, but I'm gonna check back to you later on in the future. And I'm just like, all right, cool. Check back to me later. I don't buckle. I don't say, yo, what's your budget? I don't care about any of that. This is the rate. This is what you're gonna get. This is the experience. This is my time that I have. I only tattoo 3 days a week. I used to tattoo 5 days a week, 7 days a week. Then I cut it down to 5. Then I cut it down to consistently 4 for a few years. And then now I cut it down to 3 days a week. And how 3 days a week look for me is I could be tattooing one person for all of those 3 days because they booked to get a back piece or a leg sleeve or something that's a large project that's going to take up my week. So with that, I go into my weeks like very calm. If I have one client, I'm getting probably $11,000 from, and then including tip and everything, I'm just going to focus on this one project. Nothing else matters. And I'm also going to document the process. I'll have so much content by the end of the day of chilling with them for 3 days consecutively. You'll get to see the connection and everything, and I can just share that to the world. So when people reach out, they see the whole frame of what I'm doing, and they have an expectation of what they're going to get, and they want to experience it. Right. So at that point, I'm not an option. Like, I am the choice. I am the one that they want to work with. And what I've also noticed is I'm humble enough to know that I'm not the only one. They just go to people that they truly connect with. So they'll come to me and they'll have work by different artists that I'm aware of that are fire. So that lets me know that their standards are also high, just like my standards are, right? So how I actually built my style and why they recognize it is I didn't wake up one day and say, like, yo, this is my style. Like, I built it intentionally. First, I paid attention to what I always kept coming back to, like what I saved on social media, what my feed looked like, what my Pinterest feed looked like, what I studied, what I couldn't stop thinking about. So this translated into warriors, gods, ancestral energy, figuring out who I truly am, where I truly come from, my roots, discipline, and stillness. And that told me everything I needed to know about myself. Then I committed to the repetition with the artwork, the same themes, the same energy, the same frequency, over and over and over and over again. There was even some people saying, oh, he's a one-trick pony. What they don't know is they just started following me. So there's a whole process before where I'm doing all different types of styles, just trying to figure that shit out. Really, I was just trying to figure me out, right? During this process of really honing in on that style, I didn't try to impress anybody or try to show the range of my style or even try to become an ink master, who reached out to me like 3 times and I just denied it because I didn't fuck with the process of the show. But I wasn't trying to get that applause from everybody, right? I wanted to build something that was concrete and consistent. And it also created a perception. And over time, people stopped asking what I do. And without even stating it, even if they just go to my page, they already know what I do. That's when your style becomes real. Like when the audience can literally describe you without you even explaining yourself. So what I've learned from the audience being able to do that is I started to learn who my clients were, right? So my clients are grounded people. My clients have interest in meditating, even if they don't do it, but they have self-awareness, right? They love doing that inner work. They understand the body as a temple. So that's why they don't rush with their decisions. They'll wait months, they'll wait years because they're not buying a tattoo at this point. They're marking a chapter in their life. That's my type of clientele. Now, I've realized that clients are nothing but mirrors. And this is something that most people don't want to hear. If you have cheap clients, you're probably a cheap person. If you have people that always are looking for discounts, you probably always look for the cheapest price as well. So your clients are going to be a reflection of you. The people who find you, the people that are willing to wait, the people who resonate with your work, they're going to reflect where you are internally. So with that, what I realized over my career, I stopped attracting chaos, difficult clients. I stopped attracting people that want discounts. That's not saying that they don't come to me or even try to see how much I charge and things like that. There's always going to be somebody like that. But I'm talking about like the ratio of people that come, they drop bread and everything, and what I don't have to deal with anymore, right? That changed. And I don't attract people that have impulsive decision making. So after they come and get a tattoo from me, it's not going to be something that they regret or they would want to cover up because there's real thought that came to it, right? Being that they have that mindset, I also look at how I move personally. And that's how I move personally as well. So people will feel that energy coming from your work before you even ever speak. Even people that's following me on social media, they'll be like, I don't know your prices, but I know it's expensive. And that's the perception that I want them to have. They know not to reach out to me, not because I post about my pricing or anything like that, because of the quality of the work and the consistency that I put into it over time and time and time again, it looks flawless. So they know it's not going to be a cheap thing. They can also see the energy that he probably values himself, values his like everything that he's doing. He's inspiring. He always put his work out there. He's showing a lot of his artwork and everything like that. And the tattoos that he's creating is meaningful to that individual. So that's going to separate me away from 90% of tattoo artists, right? So that's how your clients are a mirror. So if you're ever wondering, look at your clients and then look at yourself. Like Ralph said, he was like, yo, he's one of us. He's a hustler. He gets to the bag. He does what he has to do. He doesn't make excuses. And that's how you want your clients to feel. Like when my clients come in, I see they're grounded individuals. They're successful. They're quiet, blah, 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 blah. And they're not loud. They're one of me. And I love that, right? So that's how you can gauge whether or not you have the right clientele to double down on it, or if you need to switch it up because the right clientele will trust you with the type of work that you want to do, right? So if you don't like a clientele, just look inward. Another thing was the client's experience truly matters, right? So when clients arrive in my shop, they're not just there for the tattoo. They're there for their own confirmation, let's say, right? They're ready, they're aligned, right? And this moment matters to them because they've been waiting, right? So we sit down and we meditate. After I show them the design and everything, get that all that excitement up and everything of that nature, we sit down and we meditate, we soak it all in before we get started. I'm clear-headed, they're clear-headed, they're ready. And in hindsight, they're way more submissive to everything that's going on, right? So for them, this is a whole ceremony for them, even when I put the beads on them after the session and everything. It's a whole warrior's journey ceremony.
Set the frame.
And what's up?
So you set the frame. You're like, I'm in charge.
Yeah. So the experience the experience behind my brand, it reinforces the art, and the art reinforces the identity, and then the identity reinforces the brand. And that's why people will fly in, they'll drop deposits easy. Nobody needs like convincing. The clients, they return even after that. They don't like, I don't chase, and I don't like, I have a structure that actually works. So I don't try to overcomplicate it or think too much about it. I just have to double down on it as time goes on, right? So all of this didn't happen overnight. The style is built by reputation, right? It's built through restraint by consistently doing the same thing over and over and over and over again and trying to figure it out and get better at it, not trying to do things differently all the time, right? My style also came from honoring my roots and choosing a path of depth over speed and trying to get the bag and hurry up and try to get it. That's how you stop being, that's how you turn into like the average tattoo artist if you're just trying to get that bag. And there's nothing wrong with that, but different choices has different, consequences at the end of the day. So
I think that if all of us collectively look at any industry, anybody that's ever stood out to us who was like in a position of authority, I guess you could say, they always had a style.
right, yeah,
Even if you look at fighters in like the UFC, right? A fighter has a style. You know what I mean? There's just a way a guy fights. There's a way somebody approaches something with the skills that they've developed over the years that makes them stand out to others. And I think a lot of people struggle finding themselves to that extent, and it shows over time. It's
Right.
like I see business owners right now that aren't busy, regardless of if they post every day on social media. you know, what happened to all those bridges they burned over those years?
Mhm.
Why are you not busy? Like my
Mhm.
old boss had 200 followers on Instagram. He always had clients. You know what I mean? Because he treated people so well. The stories he would tell in the shop. My old boss taught me a lot about not being maybe the best at tattoos, but being a really talented artist and a really good human being. You know what I mean? Because he was that like gritty street shop kind of guy who was trying to do the tattoos, as fast as he could and get you out and do the next guy. But at the same time, the stories he told, the energy he had, like it was like wisdom. Like he would just spit in parables. Like he would just spit stories and lessons and people genuinely came back to him over and over and over again just because of how special he made them feel. You know?
He was authentic. He
So
was being
authentic.
himself.
So
You know,
authentic.
he didn't have to think. See, what we're talking about here is just the logical sense of how to do it. But at the end of the day, it's just being yourself
Yeah.
and take them on the journey that you're on. That's that's the simple way to put it. At the end of the day, it's not really that complicated, and it's not fucking hard, bro. Like we was talking about earlier, like we have easy lives. We tattoo, we draw on people, and then we have to post on Instagram.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking easy.
And even with my old boss, like what I seen him do, like with him, he was very, very simple with it, bro. Very simple with it, but the value he had in relationships was everything.
Yeah, most definitely.
So people value those relationships with us guys, and that's what I think. One of the main things I want Justin to start helping me kind of convey to you guys, and we're definitely going to work on some more resources for you guys in the moving forward, in the next couple months. But one thing I really want to work with you guys on is something that, like I said, I'm trying to do actively in my business and get to the next level with my personal style. You know, like he said, if I really look back, I could start 5 companies adjacent to what I do now, but I want to refine and make better what I'm doing right now always. And I think that's the best part about what we do. It's a never ending business ownership and entrepreneurship overall is a never ending process.
Yeah, most definitely. And even as artists, I feel like everyone knows their style. And even once you hone into it, it's gonna be some time before you create your own identity in that style. Like I always like realism and I always like portraits. over time, I just had to ask myself, what makes my portrait to my realism stand out besides the smooth shading and the line work and things of that nature. And that's when I started adding things to it and just started adding myself to it. And then that's when it started building. But first, I had to build the structure of that style. You know what I mean? So, take for example, if Zay he continues on that path, he's going to start to carve out the way that he approaches. Now that he understands this specific style a lot more and he has practice and repetition in it, then he's going to start adding his own backgrounds, his own this, his own that. That's just going to come over repetition, right? And that's going to take time in order for you to get there. But as long as you keep that energy, then it's already there.
You can
So
already
right now,
see it.
you have people's attention. Just keep going with it.
And you can see the styles come into play. Like Zay's a very blackout sleeve, blackout tattoos, sharp lines, sharp everything. And then you look at his work and it's like, look at the fillers he's drawn in, the sharp fillers, the pointy edges,
Right.
jagged
Right.
edges. You know what I mean? It's all part of the style. And I think that even there's a couple people in my program and there's a couple people in this call too that aren't tattoo artists. And one thing I want you guys to understand is there's a style for everything that we're talking about, right? We're all just trying to find our identity and our authenticity in our work, right? So that's what's gonna make us stand out, right? We're really going past just the work here. Obviously, everyone in here has a great quality product and service, but we're going past that right now. Diving deep.
Ref, you mind if I say something real quick?
Go ahead, Marcos. Go ahead.
So I'm over here just watching from the sidelines. I don't have a single tattoo on my body. As I'm looking at his work is amazing, but until I saw him like the meditations, I would want to get tatted by someone who meditates, someone who's patient. You know what I mean? If I were to have two people, both of them are equally as talented, I would rather go with the guy that like meditates, shows like, self-control.
Yeah.
Had he not shown that and not been authentic, I don't know if I would have chosen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Appreciate that. Yeah. That's where you get.
That's fire. That's fire. Marcos, and I think a lot goes the same with you too, and like what you do. You know what I'm saying? Like just selling in general and attracting those people. You know what I mean? Like I even with me, guys, I'm developing my style, right? And I'm developing my style actively as much as I can. And I think that obviously we do art. We're expressing ourselves. No matter what industry we're in, we do art, we express ourselves. And it's a phenomenal opportunity to really build your style. But this is why also, since I've gone into this whole business of information over the past year, I'll be honest with you guys, I've made more money online than I would have been able to possibly make tattooing. And there's been almost like a dark cloud in the back of my head that tells myself, hey, like this is a great way for you to take care of your family long term and make a lot of money. Like you should stop tattooing to go all in on this. But there's also a part of my identity that truly feels like I would lose myself if I did that, if I stopped tattooing. You know, that like tattooing gave me everything I have. You know what I mean? Tattooing is the foundation for everything I built, so I can't give it up. I never can. I'd rather make less, work for myself, and do what was true to me than make more and really fully dive solely into business and mentorship, which I'm definitely going to continue to do business and mentorship. There's no way I won't do that. Even if you know what I'm saying, if you stop doing something that you're passionate about, I don't think you were really that passionate about it in that moment. So I'm super passionate about tattooing. All right. So ask yourself these questions. Ask yourself those identity questions. Because I feel like over the past year, that's been a huge question I've had to ask myself. And I've really now honed in on like, yo, this is why people fuck with me. Because like I never got into tattooing to make a lot of money. I never got into doing that to make money. I never did. Am I flashy and I like to show it off now? Yes, because I'm proud of what I've accomplished. But I still never got into it expecting that to be the outcome.
I got like 5 questions to end it with on my end for everybody. When it comes to finding your style, one of the questions is what do people already come to you for without you even trying?
That's a good question.
The second question is what do you refuse to do even if it would make you more money?
That's a good one.
A big one is, what do you keep repeating in your work without meaning to? Another one is, who are you trying to impress right now? It's more of an ego thing. And I think one of the most important questions is, if you had to remove 70% of what you're doing, what would stay? And that's when you're talking about compressing.
Hell yeah.
Style is what lives in what survives the reduction of something.
Fire. Fire.
I think if you answer those, you'll be one step to like really honing in on your craft.
Style's big, bro. I'm trying to this
Yeah.
year. This is the year.
Style is all about removing what's not yours. It's not about becoming more. A lot of it's not about even becoming better. It's by removing the shit that doesn't work. And you'll find it underneath all of that shit. But you're
Well,
like right
guys,
now, I'm building with my apprentice right now. We're building out her style. And I'm building out her style based off of what she is always just in my ear, fucking talking about all the time. Sometimes it's fucking annoying. But she's passionate about it, and it's her culture. It's the history behind her culture, history behind art history, and everything of that nature. So she's over here practicing on flowers and like little small tattoos, and I'm like, stop that shit. Focus on your culture. Focus on what you can't stop talking about. You know what I'm saying? So when you do have somebody that comes in that's from your culture, it's Puerto Rican. We're in Orlando. It's a whole bunch of Puerto Ricans over here, and just Hispanics. You can relate to them even on a deeper level. So let's start focusing on strictly cultural things. What I learned when I went to the Puerto Rico convention was there wasn't one person there that was doing Puerto Rican style tattoos at a Puerto Rican event, a convention, where the locals were. Right? If there was somebody, that person would have been booked out the whole entire convention. Instead, it was quiet. So I seen that as a golden opportunity even for that. I don't see a lot of cultural things in different cultures being created. Now, I can do it, right? But I know who my clientele is. But I still see where there's holes and pockets that somebody can fill that space up easily, right? So instead of you focusing on these small tattoos and stuff, you're going to eventually start doing these small tattoos, yes. But you're going to be building a style that people see you drawn consistently as you're in your apprenticeship. And eventually, in no time, you will get there because you understand your style, you understand the application, you understand this. Now I need to teach you how to translate that over to tattooing, which sometimes is just backwards. You know what I mean? Like tattooing, you usually start from bottom to top. In drawing, you got to start from the top corner and work your way down so your hand don't smudge things up. But that's pretty much on style. That it can be worked. Everybody has a style. You got a style, Raf. If you hone in on that shit, it's easy. You got an experience that you have going on. It represents the hustle culture and everything. That's what it is. That's your style.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to pick your clients up in your Maybach and just have them experience that, that's an experience that people will pay money for. People pay hundreds of dollars just to drive a sports car as an experience just for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can add that into a whole experience with them.
Yeah.
This is different.
I think too, even I was seeing one of my clients, Justin, and he's even more niche down with his own style inside of an already very specific niche. So he does anime tattoos only, but he always draws them up a certain way. He always draws them up in the boxes and in like a certain format, the way he'll put together his designs. So even him, he's in South Carolina, he's in a small town. He only has a few thousand followers, but his videos online of him trading Pokemons and sticking to the things that have brought him so much passion have literally in a few months, I've seen him completely transform from half his clients just getting regular everyday walk-in tattoos to 100% tattooing out. Straight anime, straight his style,
Yeah.
and the style that he chooses to. Everybody trusts him now with that style. So it took for you guys to get a little bit of an idea of how this could change for you. It took 6 months for him to do that. It took
Yeah.
6 months between the first message Justin sent me saying, yo, if this mentorship doesn't work, I'm gonna have to close down my studio, to him saying, I just paid off $40,000 in debt and I'm only booked out for the next 6 months doing the type of tattoos I want to do. And Raf, I couldn't be more thankful. You know, it literally took him 6 months to find that style, fully dive into it, and make all this happen. So what me and Justin have done over the past few years, and even me, like I said, I'm not in as deep and close to the style and what I want to do as he is. But that process that's taken him 10 years, like over a decade, taking me 5 years, right? Like you can condense that and move forward quicker and really focus on this. This is a huge focus we need to make our priority moving forward.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I could teach my apprentice that style before she even starts tattooing fully.
Yeah. And guys, I mean, look, and Justin was saying too, he was talking about like it goes so deep, your style. I was telling him, I remember being in kindergarten and my mom worked 2 jobs, so I'd be left at aftercare till like late. Like I'd be like the last kid at aftercare class. And the teacher sat with me and she was drawing a face. She drew a circle. She drew a little jaw, like a little V at the bottom for a jaw. She drew the 3 lines for the eyes, the 3 lines for the no the mouth, the nose, and the eyes. And I remember being a kid and just being like, incredible how it looked like a real face just from a sketch, right? And I was obsessed, like I always was drawing as a kid. And now I'm like, one of my favorite things to do is those little mini portraits for my clients, you know? Like I genuinely love doing those. I genuinely like am passionate about those. I have so much fun doing them. And I love doing portraits. I remember that's my one of my oldest memories of art was that day, you know, doing that and seeing her draw that. So the authenticity, the story, the journey, guys, is something that I want you guys all to take your masks off this year. If you do feel like you're wearing some sort of mask, take that shit off, bro, and just be yourself. You know, this is the year that we separate the people who truly want to be here versus the people who just do it just to get by. So, like I said, more info coming from me and Justin. Guys, any questions? Does anybody in here have some questions before we hop off? I want to give you guys an opportunity to ask any questions to me or Justin.
I do. I have a question.
What's up,
So,
Billy?
what's up, bro? How you guys doing this morning?
Chilling.
So regarding to kind of like telling your stories, what do you guys suggest that we do first? Do we start with carousel, stories, reel? Right? So that's one question. And then the other question is like the only way you get better at tattooing is by tattooing, right? So if we stand firm on our price and pretty much just don't negotiate and just continue doing what we're doing, like how would that kind of like come along and will help us improve over time?
So, first thing I would say with the actually sharing of your story, Billy, you've done a tremendous job at that. I mean, especially with that reel you posted that brought you all those new followers that you had that did really well. What was it, a couple weeks ago? You know, you did a phenomenal job in that reel of sharing your story and sharing the journey and you know what I'm saying, building out basically that credibility and that connection with your clients. So I would say we use every tool we can. Use reels, use stories, use carousels, you know what I'm saying? And really hit on different parts of the process that caused you maybe doubt, maybe motivation, maybe pain. It could be positive, it could be negative, but that authenticity is really what I'm seeing people are craving. You know, like, bro, there's people that are blowing up this year who literally just work like an everyday mechanics job. Like I seen one guy, he just works like an everyday mechanics job and he just records like day in the life, get ready with me's, and he's got like a fucking 500,000 followers in like 6 months of making content. And he's the most like regular dude ever, but people just crave that authenticity and that genuine, just something they can relate to. You know, the people who want to relate to you want to relate to you. So I think you use all the mediums to do it, bro. All the mediums. And Justin, you want to answer his second question about like pricing and kind of over time, the staying firm on your rate, but also keeping it reasonable so that you can fill your books and understand the value versus demand type of equation.
I really want to touch on the only way to get better at tattooing is by tattooing. I feel like that's a myth because I feel like that myth keeps artists busy but average at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The tattooing, tattooing improves execution, not mastery. Tattooing is like the final output, but it's not the actual training ground where you're trying things on clients, right? You don't get better at trying things, you get better at actually executing and understanding what you're doing. So if tattooing alone made tattoo artists great, then every busy shop would produce masters at this shit. Like every booked artist would be fucking elite if that was the truth. But that's not the reality of it. I think that what makes artists, I can only speak for myself and other people that I've watched and also inspired by, even 2010, 2011, 2015, was tattooers that they knew how to apply, but they also drew a lot. They did a lot of drawing, they did a lot of painting, not to just do it to be busy, but to do it to understand the structure of whatever that they're building and they're creating. Right? So they had a structure that they continuously repeated that got them better with tattooing. Right? They didn't have a weak structure, they didn't have a poor outflow of energy. They made all their bad decisions when it came to the artwork on the canvas, not on the client, right? So they was able to fix that. So tattooing, it has consequences, but practice shouldn't. So skin is unforgiving. And that fear actually slows your learning process if you're just thinking, I just need to tattoo more, so that's the way that I get better. That's just a false narrative, right? I practice where the mistakes that I make is cheap because it's on paper, right? But then I continuously flow. I'll give an example. I'm working on this anime piece right now, and I outlined everything on the paper. While I'm shading everything in, I'm like, damn, I shouldn't have outlined this area. So if I tattoo this, these areas right here, I'm not going to outline these areas because it could look more softer, more like in the distance, more close up. It can change everything. So being that I made that mistake on paper, I know that when I go on skin, I know how I would approach it differently, right? So by the time I get on skin, I'm executing at that point because I understood the structure behind what I'm doing. That's how I see the majority of really great artists. That's how they get really just exceptional at what they do, and they don't have to think too much because they do all the thinking behind the scenes by not tattooing.
Something I gotta do more. Gotta do that more.
It's boring as fuck, so that's why a lot of artists don't do it. It's fucking boring, bro.
It's honestly because you saying that made me even think like some days I'll get a canvas and I'll do a painting, and I'll know I have a permanent paint pen, and I'll be so scared to put the paint to the canvas because I want the line to come. I'm like, oh my God, where's my elbow right now? Like I gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm thinking about all this stuff, but then when I have a client in front of me, I'm like so desensitized to this being a real person. I'm just like, bam, load up my needle. Yo, not moving, bro. I don't even ask the people if they're ready anymore. I'm just straight in there. You know what I'm saying? I'm straight in there. So yeah, that's super interesting, bro. The practicing outside of just tattooing. But Billy too, I do think there's and I don't think Justin's disagreeing with this, but I think there's also a sweet spot that we need to find with our demand and our quality. I think that past a certain point, some people shoot themselves in the foot. I've seen people have such tremendous quality work and really see a lot of growth. And then because of their ego, because of whatever, they refuse to practice in the background. They just stay at that exact same quality for a couple of years. And a couple of years later, I see them, bro, and they're still driving the same car, still working at the same shop, which is fine. If you're content with your life, that's fine. But the thing that I seen in that moment was the growth in the work needs to be there. Right? That's one thing with me. If you pull up my work from 2 years ago, the growth in the work is there 100%. So it's not about the material things that I'm looking at. I just look for growth in people in all different aspects. I'm like, where's the growth here? Like, where's the growth in the business? Where's the growth in the marketing? Where's the growth in the product? Right? But at the same time with me, there always has to be a sweet spot. I'm never gonna not be like a data guy. If I look at the numbers and I'm closing at a certain percentage of these rates, and all of a sudden I raise my rates and no one's paying it, I'm bringing them back down.
You gotta bring them
Yeah, I'm bringing them back down. So,
Yeah.
so I'm still gonna pay attention to the numbers, bro. Data, women
Yeah,
lie, men lie, numbers don't. You know what I'm saying? So,
how I increased my pricing was gradually. Once I stopped pricing tattoos individually, I just started pricing by half day sessions and full day sessions. I started at $600 for a half day session, and then $1,000 for a full day session, and then from there I cut out the half day sessions once I got to people paying $1,500 for a full day session. That's why I'm like, all right, cool, I'm just doing $1,500 sessions. After that, then I went up to $2,500, and I put $1,500 for the half day session. I added half day session back in, but now the half day session, instead of 600, it came up to 15, and then the full day sessions came up to 25. After people started getting real comfortable paying with 25, I cut out the half day sessions and strictly started doing the full day sessions at 25. Then I went up the same process, just repeating at like $500 or $1,000 increases over time. That was also built on the demand, how often I was getting booked, how often people were saying yes, how often people were showing up. So then I got to the $35 and the $4,000 range. And if somebody's booking like a multiple day session, then I will bring it down to 35, the lowest per day session. And I'll just go from there. But I started at 600 half day sessions, and I started going up gradually based off of how consistently I was getting booked.
Yep. And
so the money became more predictable.
Yeah.
And that's what I think. That's what we're all looking for, is predictability when it comes to our finances.
Mm-hmm. I questioned myself with the $4,000 day rate too. When I first started implementing it, and I was talking about this on my story the other day, and a lot of people swiped up, actually more than I thought would. But I talked about the psychology between a client paying $1,400 per day and $4,000 per day, because $1,400 a day is fantastic still. When I was making $1,400 a day, I was over the moon happy. I was so happy with that number to do the work that I wanted to do. So I think the deeper realizations and the deeper commitment to the character and the output is what will separate you from the $2,000 and the $4,000 day rate. And I think when me and Justin started working together, when he was on the one-on-one a while ago, it was one of the main things he said to me that stuck out was I was already charging that rate. Like he was charging the 4K day and booked out a month, charging a little bit less at that point, or it fluctuated a little bit, or whatever the case was. But we knew that he was worth that all in all. And once you are at a number, I don't want to go back. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't want to go back. If you're not growing, you're dying. And that's where just the implementation of the social media in a certain outline, or in a certain kind of like framework for Justin, he took it and ran with it. It was easy for him, So good questions, Billy. Good questions, Billy. Very good questions. Ari, you got a question? I saw you were talking when you were.
Yeah. When making that switch from like what we would consider regular, everyday clientele to like high value clientele, is there anything that comes in the beginning when making that switch over, I guess, that you guys could, I guess, in a way warn us about? Like, will we see a decrease in clientele in the beginning, or stuff like that?
I like to let the books, like I said, the data tell me most of what I'm going to do, right? If I'm booked out a month or two and I'm tattooing, for example, Zay, let's talk about him, for example. He's at that stage. He, over the past year, came to me, was doing good numbers, but this past couple months since we moved back to Miami, he's went crazy, right? He's making fucking great money. He's making $30K a month at least, right? But he's still at that point where he's charging $2,000 to $1,600 per day, but he knows he can get $2 or $3K from clients, right? Like we've already, like, clients will pay that price, but he knows if he ups his rate to that right now and he's only booked out a month, it's not going to get him booked out 6 months at that new rate of $3K per day. You get what I'm saying? So it's about timing and understanding too what you're working with here, right? With him, it's strategic, where, okay, he's booked out a month, but he's working 7 days a week. First thing we do, next month he's booked out, he's booking out only 4 days of the week. He's not booking out 7, right? okay, we raised the rates now from 1,600 to 2,000,
Right.
and he's down selling to 1,600 for back-to-backs.
Right.
So we're still locking in about that 2,000. At that number, even working 4 days a week, he's still making like 6 to 8K per week. He's still gonna make 25 to 30K a month, and he'll be able to do his night sessions, fit in a couple people here and there. He'll make 30K a month. He's not gonna make any less money, but he's gonna work 4 days a week instead of 7. Right? So there's small increments we make over time in relation to how booked out you are and the numbers and the frequency of those inquiries coming in. And then also I told him, okay, now you're doing that. Now you're tattooing less, or now you're taking less appointments, but you're charging a little bit more. Now you need to double down on all your content. So now all the content that's been serving you well, that you've been posting once a day, once every other day, you got to start posting 2 times a day. And you got to post it on Twitter and YouTube Shorts and Facebook and TikTok. And now you have 3 more platforms you're on, and you're posting twice more a day. Like Justin said, you keep the system simple, but you double down, right? So he's going to double down. He's going to get twice as many inquiries in the next month. Booking out 4 days a week, he's going to book out the next 3-4 months, secure that 30K a month for himself. And then by the time he's booked out 3-4 months, we're going to say, all right, that's it. Now you're at 3K a day. You're down selling 2,500.
Yeah. And what that is, like, at the end of the day, what we're talking about is just your belief system. So before I raised my price, I had to believe that I was worth what I was raising my price to. That your belief system is everything when it comes to it. So if you raise your price up and you feel like you're still charging like too much, then you don't believe you're really worth that. So you shouldn't raise your prices until you feel confident to say that price to somebody and not flinch and just say the price, silence. Just wait for them to reply. Right. So right now, like you said, Zay, he believes he's worth exactly what he's getting. As soon as he gets booked out 3-4 months, things like that, he's gonna be like, man, now he has a comfortable room to go through the transition of clients because he's already booked out in advance. So now he could start getting used to now accepting people that are paying more. And now he would even feel bad or feel like he's selling himself for less if he ever goes back down to 2K for a day session. He'd be like, damn, I'm giving you a deal, bro. That's when that belief system really locked in that now he's worth $3,000 or $3,500 for the full day instead of $2,000 for the full day. It's just a belief.
Yeah. And that was, dude, my old boss made me lose my only good client to learn that lesson.
Yeah.
I was doing $400 portraits back in the day, and I tattooed this guy 3 days in a row at my shop, and my boss goes, what are you charging him for those? And I said, $400. And he goes, you're going to charge him $800 tomorrow.
Mm.
And I was like, why? And he goes, bro, you're undercutting my prices. Like, he had beef with me. He was like, bro, like, you can't do that in my shop. Like, you're not going to charge that little for that type of portrait.
Right. And do that.
And I'm like, damn, bro, like, that's my only client coming in right now. Like, I live in an efficiency. Like, I have $400 to my name. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I need that guy. And he's like, don't care, bro. Do it. Up the price. Client told me go fuck myself the next day. Walked out the shop. You think the guy would be like, yeah, I get it, bro. No. Guy said, bro, fuck you. He tried to fucking fight me, basically. He fucking tried to fight my boss. He walked out. He's pissed. And I stuck. And guess what? A week later, that same guy walked in and paid $800.
Yeah.
That was it. And I knew in that moment, damn, like I was underselling, like I was doubting myself. Like,
and now you would never charge that amount again.
Forced me to realize I was worth more.
Yeah, most definitely.
So you are going to lose clients at first, but at the same time, do it in a way where you have that cushion, right? I need to have a certain amount of bookings and a certain amount of leads to justify that price.
Yeah, and the thing is that to keep the fear away from losing clients, because these people aren't yours, they're not property at the end of the day. So they're going to come and go. A client leaves, they're just making room for another one to come. So I do tattoo some people that when I was charging $1,200 a day, and now I'm charging, they pay the price that I charge today. Very small amount, but that I still have an abundance of clients though. I just don't have the other clients. Eventually, these clients that I have is going to transition, and a new group of people is going to come in. So clients aren't yours, man. They come, they experience you, and then they move on. Just like chicks.
Cherish him though. Cherish him, bro. I had a
Yeah,
client
cherish.
this week. This guy came to me. He came to me 3 years ago to get his neck tatted. My rate was 1,400. He paid 4,000 this time. Came back 3 years later. You know what I'm saying? Guess what I did? I brought him out to dinner with us after.
Yeah.
I was like, he's like, all right, bro, I'm going back to my Airbnb. I said, you're not going anywhere. I said, you're coming out with us. We're going out.
Right.
He doesn't drink though. So he went to dinner and he went home after. Wise choice.
Yeah, that's the relationship part of it too. So
I'm grateful, bro. And he felt that I was grateful. You know what I'm saying? Like that was so cool. Him being like, yo, 3 years later, still I remembered exactly who he was. You know what I'm saying? It was the best.
those are valued clients right there.
Yeah, that's cool. Anybody else got some questions? Anybody else? I think we're feeling phenomenal, guys. I think this is a great group call. I recorded all of this, so at least give me till the end of the day, guys, to upload this, get it all saved. I was talking with Justin since he was in on this, and I'm probably gonna put some of this out on YouTube as well, just for a resource to some people. So if you guys work with anyone, have any friends who have been needing some help, you could send them this YouTube video when I get it up, and it'll also be a good resource for them to kind of just start thinking about the right questions to ask themselves when it comes to brand identity and building your brand. So, like I said, 2026 is what separates the winners from the winners. I mean, the winners from the losers. The people who are just showing up just to fucking show up, or the people who are there because they fucking love this shit. So, I'm passionate. I'm excited. I'm thankful for all of you guys on here today, and I'm excited to see the way all of our businesses grow. If y'all have any questions in specific to ask me or Justin, send me a text. Y'all can all follow Justin on Instagram. I had his Instagram all up on here. I'll put it in the chat real quick. I'm sure all of you already do follow him, but if you guys don't, if any of you guys don't, put his @ right here in the chat. Where is the chat? Chat. Oh shit, Zach was in here talking. There's Justin's @ right there in the chat, guys. Creative Soul with the 8. Success happens when preparation meets opportunity. That's what I'm fucking talking about, Zach. Sometimes, guys, you got to make your own luck too. So don't be scared to go out there and grab that shit if you feel like it's there for the taking. All right, guys. I'll chop it up with y'all later. Any questions too that you want to ask in a group setting, feel free to message on the Instagram group chat whenever. I'll always see that. It's pinned to my thing. So I'll see you guys later. Let's kill it this week. Everybody, thank you for joining. Justin, thank you very much for talking, being on here.
I appreciate the opportunity, bro, and sharing the knowledge with your team, man. I appreciate it.
Of course, bro. Thank you, dog.
Yeah, just the beginning.
All right, guys. Everyone say thank you to Justin. Everybody have a good day. Take care. Y'all be safe, be easy, stay out of trouble, stay dangerous. I'll see you guys later.
Over and out.